It's Thursday, and since I've seen you last, I've actually read 2 books. Yes, 2 whole books. But today I'm just going to talk about 1 book, and that is The Girl in the Mirror by Sarah Gristwood. I found that this was a really good book. I like the cover with the trees, and you'll find out the significance of gardens and that in the book. The book starts off around 1600 in France, and there's the Spanish Armada, there's war, there's death, there's so much craziness going on, and the woman, Jeannie, however you wish to say her name, she is from France, and because of the Spanish Armada, her and her mother have to make a run for it. She's only 5 years old, she doesn't know what's going on. And through all the commotion and craziness, her and a neighbor end up in England as a refugee. But the problem is, female refugees aren't really taken in very well. None of the refugees are really, but females, it's a little bit worse. So she kind of pretends to be a boy. And throughout her entire life, she was raised as a boy, taught as a boy. Everything was all her as a boy. And throughout this story, you see her grow. You see her caretaker, he ends up getting sick and passing away, and then she's left there to fend for herself. And there's just so much raw emotion in this book. I love the way she falls for the Earl of Essex, and how the Earl of Essex and the Queen have their little fling, and then there's a big rebellion in the end of the book with different earls and against the Queen, but not against the Queen, and then the Queen's getting old and sick, so who's going to take her spot? And there's just so much going on. I don't know much about history, but when I was reading through the back of the book, I believe that Sarah did a lot of research because she normally writes biographies, and it tells you all about everything in there, what the actual historical facts are, what's real. And I found this a book you can just completely dissolve into. You can become part of the book. You feel like you're Jan. When she's a boy, it's Jan. So you can feel like you're Jan going through these crazy adventures and just some of the crazy things that she gets into. And I highly enjoy it. There's a high amount of secrecy, there's conspiracy, there's love, there's beautiful gardens. Ever since she was a little girl, she's always loved the gardens. And her and her caretaker would go to the gardens, and then at some point he had to give up the garden, but she'd still walk around the city gardens. And then where she ended up after her caretaker died, writing a book about plants, and she was drawing the pictures. So she got to completely indulge her fantasy and her love of plants. So she got to draw flowers, plants, all sorts. So that is a happy part for her, but she also goes through a lot of pain, like discovering what it is to be a woman, because she's only ever known like a guy. But when it did come time for her to become mature and go through puberty, she understood what to expect because of the maid she had growing up. The maid knew that she was a girl and just talked to her and told her and essentially educated her on the fact that yes, you can continue pretending to be a boy, but this is what's going to happen when you are of age. So no surprise there. And just certain people in her life know about her secret, and some of them use that to their advantage, and most of the people are just completely oblivious to the fact that she isn't actually a woman. And I absolutely love the adventure that she goes on. She falls in love with this Earl of Essex and risks her life to try and save his. So I feel that's very well written. You can feel the chemistry, the playfulness that's going on there, and I highly enjoyed it. Anyway, I'm going to go finish another book because I have to finish reading Catcher in the Rye for Saturday. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.